Welcome back, everyone. Glenn Wittenberg here with My SIP Solutions. I'm going to kind of finish up this series here with this last video. We're going to call it Part 5. And I'm not even really going to go into the SBC and go in and set all these configurations. We went through some videos already on that. So I'm just going to kind of cover what my thoughts were, the commands I used to try and implement kind of locking things down and directing traffic and latching the media on the SBC or more anchoring it, I guess. So let's just kind of go from there. And I'll try to maybe break down a little bit each of these items here as we go along. And then I'm also going to have a part 6 and 7, which will be the actual configuration file, the contents of that. I'll go ahead and post that on my blog site. And then I'll also have the SIP log from the SBC for a call after this final config is done. And I'll also post that on my blog site as well. And the blog site is mysipsolutions.blogspot.com. So it's mysipsolutions.blogspot.com. So check that out. I've got links to all the videos in there as well that go directly to the YouTube page. And I'll be posting some other cool stuff up there, maybe other stuff besides video links. So you might want to visit that. So what I was thinking here for this part 5 was I wanted to kind of get things where I was starting to direct traffic. I wanted to latch media. I wanted to start manipulating things a little bit where I had a little bit more control over the SBC. So I went ahead and first of all, I wanted to set up some in the different realms. I wanted to direct traffic from and to addresses, and then I wanted to be specific on what other SBC they were going to go to on maybe an interconnect side, or maybe another PBX or something like that, or a CLEC trunk, or where I was going to send the traffic. I needed some control over that, right? So the first thing I did was I created a session agent. So I'd have something to identify a device to in the SBC, so I could then start directing traffic to that device. On the anything that comes in on the ingress, I can check it out. I can look, to see whether it needs to go to that agent or another agent, right? So I can have multiple session agents. But for right now, I only have this one PBX virtualized in my home lab here. So I went ahead and did that. So I created this session agent, and I gave it the host name, right, which is the IP address of my asterisk PBX, and basically told it, 5060, enabled the state. And for now, I just use wildcards, right? So no matter what the realm ID that is coming in from on the inside, and no matter what the egress realm was on that ID as well. From the ingress realm has, you can also set an egress realm. So anything comes in on, right now I have it set, anything comes in on the access side goes to the core side, right? So I can take a look here. So when it comes in and it has those IDs, no matter what it is, right, they're wildcards, then I can go ahead and I can use this session agent here. Again, we can get, more complex and really kind of direct traffic a lot better if, we have multiple session agents, we have multiple realms. We start looking at the maybe to from address, in the call, stuff like that. We can really, manage things a lot better that way. Maybe send calls to a cheaper trunk if it's going out to Asia versus, another international going out to Africa or something like that. Maybe we got a couple different trunks up and we can manage traffic that way. Or maybe everything international goes to one trunk, and then everything, national United States, Canada, goes to another trunk, right? So we can manage them all that way too. So after I got my session agent set up, I went in and I set the local policies up for the realms, right? So we already created the realms in prior videos. So I went in and I did a local policy, and I told it to my source realm, was access, right? So you can do the source realm tab, and it'll give you access and core. And again, just for simplicity, right now, it doesn't matter what to or from address that comes in. This policy is going to apply to everything, right? So then I gave it some attributes. So then I said in there, okay, so my access ingress realm is going to use an egress realm, of course. I'm always going to kind of, tie those two together. And I'm also going to say inside of the realm core, which we just did before, I'm going to go ahead and use my next hop, which is my session agent of 192.168.10.90. So, that's where I'm going to send all my calls because that's all I've got is just one PBX out there, right? Then I also went in on the core side, and I said, hey, anything coming in from you guys, right, no matter what the realm is, the from or to address, right, as long as it comes in on the ingress realm of the core side, meaning from the PBX coming in, then I want to do an egress realm over to the access side, right? So, and then my next hop is going to be my SIP interface of 10.45, because that's where all my phones and, soft phones, hard phones, etc., are going to be coming in on. So that went well. Then I kind of started to break things, right? So now I wanted to start latching the media. And remember, I did some, I did a, done, exits, and save and activate policy and ran test calls. Everything seemed to work fine. I started to break things when I started to anchor the media on here. So I went in the media manager in the realm config and on the core side, and I did a add route header, and I did symmetric latching enabled. That's when things started to get a little weird. Then I just went into the media manager itself, and again, I went ahead and started latching the media on top of that. Again, calls did not place. Part of the SIP log on the SPC was giving me a 430 unknown ingress realm. So I did some research on that, and that's because now that I'm latching the media, I had to set it up as far as I need to be able to, they call it a steering pool, right? I had to direct the traffic, whether it be on the access or the core realm for RTP, so I could send that out different interfaces if I wanted to as well. So since I didn't have anything set up for that, I was getting this 430, didn't know where to go. It was an unknown ingress realm when it came in, and of course it would just, drop the call. It was done. I also took a look, and after I did that, I was getting unknowns in my address fields here, right, my URIs. So took a little look at that, and I found out there's a couple different things I needed to do to get rid of these errors. One is I added the in manipulation ID and the out dash manipulation ID, and for the values I did add the route header, right? So I added these tags, right, these fields, into a couple different places here, right? In the realm config, I did it in the access and the core realms. I also made sure that both of those were in the session agent, and I also made sure both of these, right, the in manipulation ID and out manipulation ID, were in the SIP interface for the access and the SIP interface for the core. Then I went ahead and created the steering pools for the RTP traffic. And so it's pretty straightforward. I did an access steering pool using the access interface, and I used the network interface for that, not the SIP interface, but the network interface for this, right, of 10.40, right? So anything for RTP is going to be using this here coming in on the access side. I did the same thing for the core network interface, not SIP interface, but the network interface of 10.50, right? So both of those are core. Now everything will be using, start port import from 10,000 to 30,000 for RTP. And that pretty much solved it, right? Done exit out of everything, did a save, did an activate my config, unregistered the phone, re-registered it, and made a phone call. And I'll go ahead and post this log, this SIP log from the SPC up there. But the call I made was my A party being extension 100, calling my B party 200. 200 was not registered, but I do have my asterisk box set up to where it immediately will play a goodbye message from the asterisk box, and then it'll hang up the call, right? It'll end the call. And I did that so I could, make sure that I have connectivity even if I don't have a phone there. So if I hear that, goodbye, from the asterisk box, then I know that I reached it and I had audio. So that was pretty neat there. And so we can come down here and I did everything, save, activate, etc. And this is where the call, we did the register out here, right? We got the 45, received the call from my soft phone on 10.5, right, from the Access SIP interface. And some basic registration stuff there. Then the core side sends it off to the PBX of .90. Pretty basic stuff. It gives me the unauthorized, it renegotiates on down the line. Pretty, nothing spectacular here. You notice that I don't have any more unknowns at all in any of my addresses in here, which is good, or my URIs. My contact to, froms, or any of my vias, they're all known. So let's go down here, and then the call itself is placed in here. And if you go down here where the actual call's placed, you can see when it starts to set up the RTP in here, right, where I'm offering up my media and all the options that I have for that. Instead of getting that prior error, the 430, I think it was, or, let's go back up and take a look at that. I can't remember what the number was. 430, yeah, I was right. Okay. So instead of getting the 430 error, now I was getting, okay, now I have some realm stuff, right? So I have an ingress realm of the access, which is coming out in the egress realm of the core. I know that I'm headed out to my PBX of 10.190. And then the flows just kind of reverses. It comes back through. It's coming back to my soft client of 10.5. No big story there. And then the 45 sent to the 5, right? It's the information back to it, letting it know what the ingress, egress realms are, all the IPs. We have what our asterisk PBX is. We also have what our network interface is for the access side and our network interface for the core side. And this is what the RTP is going to start steering over, right? So these are the things that I was missing before I did the steering pool in there. And again, I'll post these up in here in part 6 and 7 on my blog site. And so that's pretty much it, right? So you can go back to the rest of the call. Everything looks really good. It negotiates on a codec. The call's placed. Come down here a little bit more. Kind of the same thing here. 190. This is where we start to tear down the call here. It's pretty much it. Same thing. Just a big, intense back-to-back negotiation, just for the most simplistic call of dialing that extension, hearing goodbye, and then doing the hang-up. And then last but not least, at the very bottom here, so it's negotiated on a 10,006 for the RTP. And then I even have the unreg in here as well, documented. So I just kind of wanted to look at that, where we go ahead and send the buy signal back. So everything looked really clean. I did eventually put another extension on that, 200, and made a call. I had two-way audio. Everything was working really well. So that's pretty much where we stand. I'm going to go ahead and I'll be posting this. I'll be posting those other two parts, part 6 and part 7, with my SIP config and this call log in there. And that's it. I really appreciate you guys checking out this series and being patient with me as I fumble my way through the configuration of my first SPC in my home lab virtualized Oracle SPC on a VMware ES6i server. All right. Appreciate it. Bye-bye.